Let me guess what you think millionaire traders have that you don't. A secret algorithm? Some underground Discord group sharing insider tips? Maybe they're math geniuses who can calculate probability in their sleep? Or they've got access to some mystical chart pattern that prints money like a broken ATM. Here's the thing. I've spent years studying successful traders, interviewing them, analyzing their habits, and you know what I discovered? The gap between you and them isn't what you think it is. Not even close. The fantasy we've all bought into goes something like this. Millionaire traders are sitting in their penthouses with 12 monitors, using complex formulas us mere mortals could never understand. They've got secret indicators, they know which way the market's going before it happens, and they're basically financial wizards who've cracked the code. But here's what's going to blow your mind, and maybe bruise your ego a little bit. The difference between a millionaire trader and someone who's blown 3 accounts isn't intelligence. It's not access to better tools. It's not even experience, at least not in the way you think. What I'm about to share with you might actually make you angry at first, because it means the only thing standing between you and consistent profitability isn't some external factor you can blame. It's something much more uncomfortable to confront. The big reveal: mindset over mechanics. Ready for the truth bomb? Millionaire traders succeed because of their psychological habits, not their technical tricks. Let that sink in for a second. The thing that separates the guy banking 7 figures from the guy funding his 3rd account isn't a better moving average crossover strategy. It's what's happening between their ears. They've mastered something far more valuable than any indicator or pattern. They've mastered themselves. Specifically, they've mastered decision-making under risk, emotional regulation, and ruthless consistency. Think about it. How many trading strategies have you learned? How many YouTube videos have you watched explaining the perfect setup? How many indicators have you backtested until your eyes bled? And yet, here you are, still searching for the answer. That's because you've been looking in the wrong place. You've been trying to solve an internal problem with external solutions. It's like trying to fix a leaky pipe by repainting the walls. You're addressing the symptom, not the cause. Millionaire traders don't have better strategies. They have better brains. Not smarter brains, trained brains. Disciplined brains. Brains that respond to market chaos with systematic calm instead of emotional chaos. This is the not what you think moment I promised you. The secret isn't sexy. It's not going to make you rich overnight, but it's the only thing that actually works. Core traits millionaire traders share. Let me break down the 5 psychological superpowers that separate millionaire traders from everyone else. These aren't personality traits they were born with. These are habits they've cultivated through deliberate practice. Delayed gratification and patience. Amateur traders are dopamine junkies. They need that hit of excitement from a winning trade right now. They check their positions every 5 minutes. They can't sit through a drawdown without panicking. They're playing a slot machine, not running a business. Millionaire traders? They're playing a completely different game. They understand compound growth is boring in the short term and spectacular in the long term. They can watch a position do nothing for weeks without getting itchy fingers. They measure success in years, not days. Here's a stat that'll make you uncomfortable. The average holding period for a retail trader is less than a week. For millionaire traders, it's measured in months or even years. They're not more patient people. They've just trained themselves to see time differently. But here's the key insight. They don't see losses as failures. They see them as business costs. Just like Amazon pays for shipping, traders pay for information. A stop loss isn't admitting defeat. It's paying for market data that says this idea isn't working. Millionaire traders typically risk 1 to 2% per trade. Always. No exceptions. No, this one feels really good, so I'll risk 10%. No, I'm down for the month, so I need to make it back. Just systematic, boring, profitable risk management. If this is hitting different than every other trading video you've watched, if you're realizing the game is completely different than you thought, then hit that subscribe button right now. Because I'm going to keep pulling back the curtain on what really separates the pros from everyone else. And drop a comment below. What's the biggest myth about millionaire traders that you used to believe? I read every single one, and the best insights might make it into a future video. Emotional detachment and ego control. This might be the hardest one because it goes against every instinct we have as human beings. Amateur traders tie their self-worth to their P&L. Green day equals I'm a genius. Red day equals I'm an idiot. They take every loss personally, like the market is out to get them specifically. This emotional attachment leads to the death spiral behaviors we all know. Revenge trading, doubling down on losers, holding losing positions because admitting you're wrong hurts too much. Millionaire traders have achieved something that seems almost inhuman. They've separated their ego from their trades. They can lose money without feeling like losers. They can be wrong without feeling stupid. They can watch a position go against them without taking it personally. How? They've reframed what trading means. They don't see themselves as gladiators battling the market. They see themselves as scientists running experiments. When an experiment fails, you don't get emotional. You collect the data and design a better experiment. Relentless adaptability. Here's the final truth that amateur traders don't want to hear. The market is constantly evolving, and what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. Amateur traders find one strategy that works and then ride it into the ground. They become married to their approach. When it stops working, they blame the market for changing instead of blaming themselves for not adapting. Millionaire traders are like water. They take the shape of whatever container they're in. Bull market? They adapt. Bear market? They adapt. Choppy market? They adapt. They're constantly analyzing their results, questioning their assumptions, and adjusting their approach. They're not loyal to any strategy. They're loyal to whatever works. This isn't about jumping from system to system. It's about subtle calibrations based on market conditions. Maybe they tighten stops in volatile markets. Maybe they reduce position sizes when correlations increase. Maybe they shift from breakout trades to mean reversion when market character changes. The key is they're always learning, always adjusting, never stubborn. The business owner versus gambler metaphor. Let me paint you a picture that'll crystallize everything I've just explained. Imagine two people walk into a casino. The first person, let's call him Andy Amateur, brings his life savings, walks up to the roulette table, and puts it all on red. His heart's pounding, palms sweating, already spending the money in his head. When the ball lands on black, he's devastated. He borrows money to try again, convinced the universe owes him a win. The second person, let's call her Millionaire Mary, owns the casino. See the difference? Andy's looking for jackpots. Mary's protecting margins. Andy needs to be right. Mary needs to be profitable. Andy's playing a game. Mary's running a business. This is exactly how millionaire traders approach the market. They're not trying to hit home runs. They're manufacturing consistent base hits. They're not gambling on direction. They're selling insurance through probability. Amateur traders are sprinting through the market, gasping for air, chasing every move, burning out in months. Millionaire traders are marathon runners, pacing themselves, conserving energy, planning to be here in 10 years. Which one sounds more sustainable to you? The Richard Dennis story. Let me tell you about Richard Dennis, because his story perfectly illustrates everything we've been discussing. Dennis turned $1,600 into $200 million trading commodities. But here's the part nobody talks about. It wasn't his system that made him rich. It was his psychology. In the early days, Dennis would take massive losses. Not because his analysis was wrong, but because he'd let his emotions override his rules. He'd hold losers too long, revenge trade after losses, size positions based on gut feeling instead of math. The breakthrough came when he had a revelation. Trading wasn't about being right. It was about following a process. He created mechanical rules for everything. When to enter, when to exit, how much to risk. More importantly, he created rules for himself. No checking positions during the day. No changing stops based on feelings. No increasing size after losses. But here's the beautiful part. Dennis proved this was learnable. He took a group of complete novices, taught them his rules, and turned them into millionaires. These turtle traders didn't succeed because they were special. They succeeded because they followed the psychological framework. The system was simple enough to write on a napkin. The discipline to follow it? That was the real edge. One of his students, Jerry Parker, said something that stuck with me. Rich didn't teach us how to trade. He taught us how to think. That's the difference. Millionaire traders haven't found better setups. They've built better minds. The $100 account reality check. Let me show you exactly how this plays out in practice, because I know some of you are thinking that's great for millionaires, but I'm starting with $500. Here's an experiment that'll reveal everything. Give an amateur trader a $100 account. Watch what happens. They'll immediately start taking massive risks because $100 isn't real money. They'll risk $50 on a single trade because what's the point of making $2? They'll blow it up in a week and say, well, it was only $100. Give a millionaire trader that same $100 account. They treat it like it's $100,000. They risk $1 to $2 per trade. They journal every decision. They track their metrics. Why? Because they understand something profound. The habits you build with $100 are the habits you'll have with $100,000. Think about that. Really think about it. How you treat small money reveals how you'll treat big money. If you can't respect $100, why would the market trust you with more? Here's what millionaire traders do differently, even with tiny accounts. Position sizing. They calculate position size based on risk, not available capital. If their stop is 50 pips away and they're risking 1%, $1, they trade micro lots. Period. No, this feels like a winner, so I'll risk more. Record keeping. They journal everything. Not just trades, thoughts, emotions, market observations. They're building a database of their own psychology. Amateur traders can't even remember what they traded last week. Process metrics. They track accuracy rate, average win/loss ratio, maximum drawdown, profit factor. They know their stats better than their phone number. Amateur traders only know if they're up or down. Learning investment. They treat losses as tuition. A $2 loss teaches the same lesson as a $2,000 loss if you're paying attention. Look, if you're feeling called out right now, if you just recognize yourself in that amateur column, that's exactly where you need to be. This is the moment where change begins. Subscribe to this channel because I'm going to keep giving you the truth about trading that nobody else will. And here's what I want you to do. Comment below with your biggest amateur habit. Just own it. Say, I revenge trade, or I can't take stop losses, or whatever it is. There's power in admitting it publicly, and this community is here to support your transformation. Plus, I personally read and respond to as many comments as I can. The emotional transformation. Here's something nobody talks about. Adopting millionaire trader habits doesn't just make you more profitable. It makes trading peaceful. Imagine trading without anxiety, without constantly checking your phone, without that sick feeling when you see red, without the cocaine high of a big winner followed by the crushing low of giving it all back. When you trade like a millionaire, your emotional state stabilizes. You're not riding the roller coaster anymore. You're operating the controls. Your heart rate doesn't spike when you enter a position. Your mood doesn't depend on where the market closes. Your relationships don't suffer because you're angry about a loss. This isn't just about money. It's about quality of life. Amateur traders age in dog years from stress. Millionaire traders barely raise their heart rate because they've systematized everything. The paradox? When you stop caring so much about individual trades, your overall results improve dramatically. When you stop needing to be right, you start being profitable. The identity shift. This is where everything comes together, and it's the most important point I'll make today. Millionaire traders don't just trade differently. They're different. They've undergone a complete identity shift. They don't see themselves as gamblers trying to hit it big. They see themselves as business owners managing risk and probability. Think about the language. Amateurs say, I hope this works. Millionaires say, let's see what the data says. Amateurs say, the market screwed me. Millionaires say, my thesis was invalidated. Amateurs say, I need this trade to work. Millionaires say, this trade is one of thousands. It's not just words, it's worldview. When you see yourself as a professional running a trading business, everything changes. Your standards change. Your habits change. Your results change. You stop asking, what's the best strategy? And start asking, how can I execute any strategy flawlessly? You stop looking for holy grails and start building systematic processes. You stop trying to prove you're smart and start trying to prove you're disciplined. The path forward. So here's where we net out, and I want you to really hear this. The gap between you and millionaire traders isn't talent. It's not intelligence. It's not access to secret information. It's not even capital. It's psychology. Specifically, it's 5 learnable habits: patience and delayed gratification, process-focused thinking, obsessive risk management, emotional detachment, relentless adaptability. These aren't personality traits you're born with or without. They're skills you develop through deliberate practice. Every millionaire trader started where you are. The only difference? They committed to changing their internal game instead of searching for external solutions. Here's the empowering truth. You're closer than you think. Much closer. The distance between amateur and professional isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in decisions. Every time you follow your rules when you want to break them, you're training. Every time you take a proper stop loss when you want to hold and hope, you're growing. Every time you size a position correctly when you want to go big, you're becoming. You don't need $1 million to start trading like a millionaire. You need to start trading like a millionaire to eventually have $1 million. The beautiful part? You can start right now. Not tomorrow. Not when you have more capital. Not when you find the perfect strategy. Right now, with your next trade, you can choose to act like a professional instead of an amateur. Your next trade. I want to leave you with a challenge that'll transform how you see yourself as a trader. On your next trade, I want you to do something different. Instead of focusing on how much you could make, I want you to focus entirely on perfect execution. Write down your rules before you trade. Entry criteria. Position size based on 1% risk. Stop loss level. Target level. What would invalidate the trade? Then execute flawlessly. Follow your rules like your life depends on it, because your trading life does. After the trade, whether it wins or loses, grade yourself only on execution. Did you follow your rules? If yes, that's a successful trade regardless of outcome. If no, that's a failed trade even if you made money. This one shift, grading process over outcome, will begin your transformation from amateur to professional. Remember, millionaire traders aren't doing anything you can't do. They're not special. They're not gifted. They're just disciplined. They've simply decided that following rules is more important than being right, that protecting capital is more important than making quick money, and that consistency is more important than excitement. The question isn't whether you can develop these habits. You can. The question is whether you will. The market doesn't care about your potential. It only respects your discipline. And discipline isn't something you have or don't have. It's something you do or don't do. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep searching for the secret strategy that'll make you rich? Or are you going to start building the habits that actually create millionaire traders? The choice is yours. The time is now. Your transformation begins with your next trade. Remember, trade like a millionaire with whatever you have, and eventually you'll have what millionaires have. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's just psychology. Now go execute flawlessly. I'll see you in the next one.